Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Friday, August the 9th. Walter Bargen is with us, our very first poet laureate in the state of Missouri and frequent guest on Radio Friends. Good to have you here, Walter Bargen.
Yes, thank you. It's always great to be here.
I got to tell you, Walter, before we came on, Walter and I and James, we were talking, and Walter comes in here all the time. He's got stories about snakes. I tell you, Walter, sometimes you make my skin crawl. But you, for some reason, you have this aura where snakes come into your life, and you just caught a rattlesnake, what, a couple of weeks ago?
Yes, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was in your yard. The cats were surrounding, and you went out and you scooped up the rattlesnake in a bucket.
Yes, the three cats keep it coiled and rattling. I get a 5-gallon bucket. I scoop it up with a long-handled shovel. I dump it into the bucket, and then I put the lid on the bucket, and then I drive it to the wildlife refuge, and I release it there. And that's like maybe the 14th rattlesnake that I've caught.
On your property?
Yes, but around the house. What
I'm so impressed is the fact that you didn't kill it. You put it in a bucket and you drove it in your car to a wildlife refuge. What would have happened if that snake would have escaped in your car while you're driving?
You know, I don't think about that.
Obviously.
I make sure that the lid stays secure, and it is a very interesting sound that fills the cab of the car. It sounds like one of those rain sticks.
Uh-huh.
And it's just constant for the entire drive.
Oh, the whole drive that you can hear it rattling?
Yes, yes. Well, no, it's in the seat right next to me.
The snake is in the seat right next to you in a bucket covered up.
Yes.
And it's rattling.
And it's rattling the entire time.
Okay. All right. I talked about that enough now, but I just wanted to share that with our listeners.
No, I need to add one little story to this.
Yeah.
At 2 o'clock in the morning in 1979, my wife steps off the porch barefoot after I said, "Take a flashlight." She gets bit in the arch of her foot by a copperhead.
Oh, my.
We race off to the university hospital. We get there, where they immediately take us into the emergency room, and the doctor looks at it and says, "How long's it been?" And we say, "Well, at least half an hour." And he says, "Nothing to worry about, because if you're not really having a reaction to it." So when she was bit, I had pressed on either side of the bite, and this clear fluid came out. I don't know if that was the venom or what. But the next morning, we could see what happened. It had sunk its top fangs in. No, it had sunk its bottom fangs in, but the top fangs, it slid down the arch of her foot. And so it had hardly injected any venom into her. But there was just a round silver dollar size inflammation.
Okay. And those are our stories about snakes today. He was going to read a couple of poems, but we've got less than 4 minutes now.
Yes, just one poem.
Okay, one poem.
And this comes out of our last visit together, because at the very last moment, I had read 2 poems about the Missouri River flooding, and how similar it was between 1993 and the current flooding. The 1993 was the year of the Great Flood.
Right, I remember that.
And you said something about tornadoes, so I'm going to read a tornado poem.
All right, so here is Walter Bargen with a tornado poem.
And this is called A Different Prayer. It's divided into 2 parts. The first part is a description of the tornado, the damage that was done in Joplin, Missouri, where that 6-story brick hospital building was moved 6 inches on its foundation. I can't imagine that power. But anyway, and then the second part is an experience that I had driving west.
Okay.
I've watched so many hours, they've become indistinguishable, yet I can't stop watching. The footage blurs into rain, wind, darkness, fear, the fumbling amateur videographer confronted by a mortal realization, the howling more real than the real that has warmed his mind. There, before the lens, the unframeable, path across the city marked by exploding streetlights, sparking 4th of July transformers, block after block of houses churning into debris, cars parked on top of cars, then the silence of the insufficient, the inadequate, the incomplete, the incomprehensible, the welling up in the disbelief of flashlights skimming the unthinkable, mourning a different lifetime, another country, with each breath a prayer. 2. Once, from the shoulder of a highway, mid-afternoon on drought-stricken plains, I watched a squat mile-wide twisting of the riddled and destitute, the swirl of pulverized dirt and fence posts, barbed wire and tumbleweeds grinding eastward as the parked car I stood beside pointed west, my daughter hanging out the window shouting, "Dad, let's go, let's go," as I feigned a leisurely photo session. The tail end of the front swept past, trailing hundreds of foot wide, 100 feet long, finely braided corkscrews of dirt, a beaded curtain between rooms of dust devils leaving stunted cornfields, or the beaded curtain to a doorless room decades ago in the 60s, where the weather could change at a moment's entrance.
Well, you painted a picture. You really did paint a picture with words. When you were describing that tornado in the car, it was frightening.
Well, it was really interesting because there's this jog on Highway 70 where it turns north for about 20 or 30 miles before it goes west again. And I'm really tired because I'm the only driver in the car. My daughter's too young to drive. And I turn on the radio and there's a weather warning, and it's saying something about the little town that we just passed and something about the town ahead. And I think, that's where we are. And I look out the passenger window, and there is a mile-wide tornado about a mile from the road.
Oh, my.
And I go, I got to get pictures of this and stop. And my daughter is,
hysterical.
Hysterical, right.
You did get out. Obviously, you get out.
And I took pictures. But what was really so fascinating is when the last clouds passed over us, and there was all these cornrow braids hanging down hundreds of feet that were made out of dirt. There were hundreds of them hanging down from the cloud, and as it passed by. And of course, I had shot all the film that I had brought.
But the wonders and the power of nature.
Yes.
The power of nature. Walter Bargen, thank you so much for coming by. Your books are available on Amazon?
Well, they're Skylark Bookshop.
Okay.
Yellow Dog and...
the trunk of your car.
The trunk of my car and Amazon.
And
yes.
Amazon. Got it. Thank you so much, Walter Bargen, our first poet laureate from Missouri. Monday Trips and Mizzou Alumni Association. Bye-bye.